So no, don't like it.
You don't like it. Understood.
Okay.
The UK import scheme at the moment is made up of risk categories. We've got high, medium, and low.
Yep.
We technically have medium A and medium B when it comes to plant products. How does it work? And is it the right thing for what we have currently?
At the risk of saying everything's wrong, everything's wrong. The SPS controls at the moment, okay, they came in, remind me, was it 24? It's hard to remember exactly when they...
23 was iPaths.
And 24 was health certs. Okay, so, and then you ended, so iPaths was then only just, it was all kind of low risk, and then 24 ended up being the low, medium, high. And high you can exclude because high's always been high, really. But the low and the medium it's so frustrating in that we waited ages for this Excel spreadsheet that would tell us by commodity code whether the product was low or medium. So you'd be able to look up your commodity code and decide whether it was low or medium. Waited for ages for the spreadsheet from DEFRA, finally got the spreadsheet, look up the commodity code. Under the risk category, it says low or medium, which was the question, not the answer. And the reason why it's low or medium is it says, well, if it's raw milk, it's medium, being very general. If it's raw milk, it's medium. And if it's pasteurized, it's low. And you okay, fine. So why don't we split the tariff? We own the last two digits of the tariff. We can do what we like with the tariff. It's now our tariff. We can play with that as much as we want. Why don't we have a different commodity code for pasteurized cheese as against raw milk cheese? Because otherwise, we're not cheese experts. There are many, we're customs experts, but we're not experts in producing cheese, believe it or not. So you end up with a situation where you have a consignment of cheese coming in and there is no health cert. Do you then assume one of two things, really? Either it's low risk because they haven't done a health cert, or they're so disorganized, they've forgotten to do the health cert.
Forgotten to send it, yeah, so anything.
So then you've got to contact, you just create more friction in the supply chain where I've now got to speak to the forwarder, to speak to the forwarder, to speak to the exporter to say, what's this cheese all about? Because it could be low or medium. And all of that is unnecessary if you just had a specific code. So generally, like the idea, way too binary, low, medium, there is a range of risks in there that could be covered, and they've not covered them. I don't think we're using the tariff correctly as to why is that not in the tariff rather than as an Excel we have to look at separately. And then something that we covered on this report, this is why I'm carrying this thing lovingly, because we did this in 2024. It's got a number of sections about how the UK can improve trade facilitation, hence written by the Trade Facilitation Commission. And in here we covered SPS, trusted trader schemes for SPS. And I know you and I discussed this, and you were a big part of me writing this anyway, was the risk is too flat. So if you have, using Italian cheeses, which everybody kind of knows, is if you've got Grana Padano, commonly known as Parmesan, it's low risk. So because it's made with pasteurized milk. If you've got Parmigiano Reggiano or Reggiano, which looks very much like it in the Sainsbury's shelf, it's the one that's slightly more expensive to the right, that's raw milk. So that's that's medium risk. So the Grana Padano Parmesan is quite a simple process. iPaths, ship it, not much cost, not much common use charge, not much for poor health charge. The Reggiana is, if that was like 30 quid, this is 350 quid for health certs and everything. And plus it's a cheese that ages for like 5 years or more. There are warehouses of this stuff like there are oil paintings. So suddenly you've got, that's the risk category. It's either boom, low or boom, medium. There should be scores. We've suggested in this, which you and I worked on, is that we should be able to score the risk category. So 1 to 30 is low. Over 30 is medium, for example. And the risk score is reduced by the score of the trader. How trusted is the trader? So if you have Reggiana coming in at 50, so it's medium, but it's coming in by an established, trusted importer who you trust to run the controls, he's got a score of 30, the net is 20, it's now low risk, I don't need a health cert. And that's, I think, one of my problems with a lot of what we're doing is it's too
binary.
Yeah, it's too based on the product. Is that, I don't know what's going on about Baby Bell. We don't even clear Baby Bell, but Baby Bell is Baby Bell. And tomorrow there's another trailer of Baby Bell. And next day, guess what? There's another trailer of Baby Bell. And it's got all these controls on it. And one of the biggest complaints that we hear, even within HMRC, that when they did surveys of traders was, I ship the same thing every day. And every day it's like the first time you've ever seen it. And I think we need to get this layer in. So one is make the scope bigger and then recognize the role of the trader, that if he can be trusted, you can reduce the risk of the product because of the guy importing the product.